And Village Board, you guys are live.
Good morning, everyone. Today is July 29th, 2022. Could we welcome to East Hampton Village Board meeting. Could we get a stand for a Pledge of Allegiance, please?
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
And just for a moment of silence, this past week we lost Loretta King. She was a longtime village employee. She's also married to Hugh King. So if you could just bow your heads for a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Be seated, everyone. All right, if we could do a roll call, June.
Sure. Mayor Jerry Larson.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Chris Minardi. Here. Trustee Carrie Doyle. Here. Trustee Sarah Amidon. Here. Trustee Sandra Melendez. Administrator Marco Belladron.
Here.
Village Attorney Vincent Messina. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to have a couple of announcements real quick. So we're almost into August, as everybody is aware, and we have a lot of things going on for the month of August. We have on August 6th at Main Beach at 6 p.m., we have our meet your elected officials. So that'll be the village board, that'll be Fred Thiel, Bridget Fleming, and Palumbo, Senator Palumbo will be there. So if you'd like to join us, that we're more than happy to have you up there to meet everyone. We also we're really excited about Authors Night, which is, I believe, August 13th. And it's first time ever. It's going to be held in Herrick Park. So that's going to be really exciting. What are the hours on that?
5 to 7.
5 to 7. So hopefully everybody can join us for that. It's going to be a great night.
And then the following day is the Children's Fair.
And the following day is the Children's Fair in the park. So it's going to be a busy August. We also have the Artist Writers Game on August 20th in Herrick Park. That's during the day. And then we have the annual fire department's fireworks that night, August 20th at Main Beach. And we're also having, first time ever, is the East Hampton Village Foundation's annual gala, which will be held at the Maidstone Tennis Club on August 20th as well. That's all I have for announcements. What I'd like, I'm sorry.
We also have Peter on the Wolf today at 4:30 and 6:30 at the park. It's a family-friendly show, so everybody should come down and see it. Herrick Park, 4:30 and 6:30. Peter on the Wolf.
Nice. Who stars in that, Sandra?
Oh, my daughter.
I think Sandra's daughter might be in that show.
It might be a cat. Today.
Yes, so. So we won't miss that. Next, I want to just turn this. We have really exciting news. For the first time in the village's history, we've been given a AAA rating by Moody's. I'm just going to turn this over to our village administrator to explain more.
As the public knows, we're going out for
Use the mic, please.
We're going out for a $6.8 million bond. So prior to that, we usually get a rating that has to be administered. And last week, we were having essentially interviewed by Moody's as to why we should be continued given that AA1 rating. And we actually lobbied to get a AAA. So I think Michael Laguercio, who's our bond consultant, I believe he's on the phone right now.
Yes, I got him right here. Let me pipe him through.
All right, Mike, if you would just explain to the public what this means.
Yeah, so first of all, congratulations, everybody. Everybody did a great job. AAA is not an easy rating to achieve. So it means a lot out there to the market. And basically what it means is to the investors who are going to be purchasing the village's bonds, it means safety. And this is the highest safety that an investor could get, being AAA. So it it's a great achievement that the village was able to get this. And with that comes a lower interest rate. Now, is it going to be a lot? The market's a little different than it was, a few years ago. So is it going to be a lot different than the AA1? No, it's not going to be that much difference. I'm predicting probably anywhere between 5 and 7 basis points that you're going to do better than if you had a AA1. So it probably equates to, you're going to be saving somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000 over the life of the issue. So nothing to sneeze at, but it's nice to save some money. So one of the things too is that, let's face it, East Hampton, great name, AAA. Believe it or not, AAAs, they actually trade different, right? Everybody thinks AAA is AAA, but they actually do trade differently. So especially with a name like East Hampton, you're going to be doing really well when we sell these bonds next week. We're going to sell them on the 2nd, August 2nd. So again, the name does have something to do with it. And how do we get here? The village did a great job in their finances, right? Dominique and Marcos, they're really on top of the finances of the village. Just looking over, one of the things that the rating agencies like, and we went with Moody's, one of the things they like is trends, right? So over the last 5 years, on the financials, fund balance went up over that trend. It went from basically 8 million to about 18 million. So that was, let's face it, management. It's very important, and they did a great job of managing the balance sheet there. Also, one of the things that I have to give kudos to is Marcos and Dominique explaining to Moody's all this information that we had to give them over the finances, assessed valuation, what's going on in the village as far as building permits, all that. They did a great job in explaining that, which is important. I just want to make sure that everybody understands it's important to articulate all this information to Moody's in order to get this AAA. And they did a great job in doing that. So that's all I really have. One of the other things that is actually in the report is that management is strong. And it reflects a conservative budgeting and ample reserves. So they did mention that in the report on how strong management is. So, but everybody in the village is doing a great job, and this AAA reflects that. So, because they're not given out often. And I've been doing this for 25 years. And again, we just have a handful of clients.
That's great. Thank you very much.
That have a AAA. So
That's great. Thank you.
It is a great
I
achievement.
just want to mention. Thanks, Mike. Sorry, I just want to mention that that Dominique we're very humbled by this, but at the same time, it's the first time that Moody's has given this to a small village here in the Hamptons. AAA, first time.
That's terrific. Well, I think you and Dominique deserve a round of applause. That's for sure. I know you're watching, Dominique, so thank you. All right, so next up, I would like to call up our beach manager, Chief Lifeguard Drew.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board of Trustees. Behind me, I have a handful of lifeguards. I have Ocean Lifeguard Jack Cooper, Reed Jones, Brian Stanis. I have Captains Brunner and Bertrand and Lieutenant Nealon and Lieutenant Silvera. Last year, we had 181 saves in Village of East Hampton. To date, we are approximately at 140. It has been a busy summer for our lifeguards. But on the 4th of July, on that Sunday, we had something a little bit out of the ordinary. We spotted a spinal injury. The lifeguards behind me really sprung into action, going above and beyond the average daily task of a lifeguard. From direct feedback from the family, as well as a family friend, the surgeon of that incident, the victim was told that the direct actions done exactly how they did probably saved that victim's life and prevented any further lifelong damage from the injury. So I just wanted to take a moment to really give them a round of applause for going above and beyond. The police department gave us tremendous amount of assistance, as well as East Hampton Village Ambulance throughout the duration of the call. But the immediate action of these people behind me is what saved that gentleman's life that day.
That's terrific. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, Drew. Drew, could you just update the board on the recent activities at the beach? I know we had a lot of tournaments going on. Just if you could just fill us in a little bit.
Yeah, so last week we hosted the annual Main Beach Lifeguard Tournament. We got teams from Long Beach, Jones Beach, Smith Point, I believe Fire Island Town had multiple teams, Southampton had multiple teams, East Hampton Village had multiple teams. It was a large event, ran smoothly. Everybody did very well throughout. Last night we hosted our second annual Town versus Village volleyball tournament. We had 64 competitors as well as spectators. It was under the lights. I'd like to thank David Collins for his support with DPW and setting the event up, as well as Chief Tracy for having the police presence and the lights to allow us to go later into the evening. The beach has been filled with music events and lifeguard events, and tremendous support from all the department heads that allowed us to run all those operations quite smooth.
Great. Thanks, Drew.
Thank you.
Thanks. So before we get into the hearing that we have scheduled, I wanted to just address a couple of things. Actually, I'll address it after the hearing because we have people here. So let's do the hearing. Mr. Messina, could you explain?
Certainly. So, village, certain legislation that would permit it to act in certain cases of, well, much more than a lack of maintenance, but situations that threaten the public health and safety on individual properties. And what it allows for is that after a noticing procedure, the village could then ultimately go in and what's called summarily abate the nuisance, or, you know, go in, clean up the property, and then charge the owner. So this is one of the first instances under that. And so I guess at this point, it's appropriate to have our building inspector and our fire marshal, who have both been out to the site, explain, number one, identify the site, then explain the conditions that existed, and then explain the conditions that exist today.
Thank you, Mr. Messina, Mr. Mayor, members of the board, and I'll speak on the fire marshal's behalf as well. I mean, he's aware of the property. So originally,
What's the address?
there's 56 Egypt Close, also known as a field, along Pantago.
And we've noticed the owner, right, of this hearing today?
Yes, we have, Mr. Messina's
And delivered to the owner and the tenant?
several times. Correct. So originally this started as we fielded a few complaints as far as the maintenance of the property, and made several attempts to have these violations, I'll say, abated, or these potential dangers. So what existed was and I have pictures of before and after. So an overgrown field with some accessory structures, I'll say, that were not maintained. Now, our main goal is the health and safety of our residents and the surrounding areas. So in this instance, there was very tall grass, whereas something is, as an errant spark, perhaps could ignite any combustibles that were at the location. This property is without other zoning violations, which we'll deal with, but that's not to be, it's not part of this here. So after several notices, again, we really, in our department, we seek voluntary compliance for health and safety. To bring it to this level is really not what is my goal. When I'm unable to get that voluntary compliance, it's in this instance, it comes before this board, and other instances goes before the judge. There was what existed was tall grasses, and as things dried out, there was the chance of an errant spark, like I said, to ignite anything. There was also, the instance of possible vermin and insects. But anyway, that all having been said, there has been a pretty good effort as of late to abate some of these issues. The grass has been cut, and some of the debris has been removed, although now it's in an area that it's more compact. So as far as health and safety, I think we're in a good spot. As far as general housekeeping, I'll say, or just a general good neighbor, I think there's a little to be said there. So at this point, I think I'll, leave it in your hands.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
You give the photographs to Ms. Lester, and
Do you have anything to-
into the record? Okay.
Anything
Will
to
do.
add? Yeah. Yeah, I drove by there yesterday, and it's still unacceptable to me. It's still overgrown in a lot of areas. It still has a lot of junk. It's surrounded, just to set the stage here, it's surrounded by homes. If it were a fire there, it could be devastating to the homes that are in the area. So I see the attorney for the landlords here, so hopefully we'll get some answers from him that it's going to be cleaned up further. Some of the homeowners are here who would like to speak, so we're going to move to that. Is there anything else, Mr. Messina, that?
No, just to note that, again, to remind the board that regardless of what happens here today, the code also provides for subsequent issues of the same nature, so that if this continues to be a problem, there's a much quicker process to get it to this point so that the village board can entertain taking further action.
Okay. John, would you want to speak? I think if you speak, maybe it'll answer the questions for the homeowners if you speak first.
I'm not dressed all appropriate. So John Tarbert, I represent, excuse me, I represent the home property owner. We purchased a property last year, and there's an echo on the microphone. Sorry, I hear myself talking. There's an echo on the microphone. But so so weird to hear myself back. So my client purchased a property last year, and it came with a tenant. The tenant is in the process of a farmer. Property is it's an ag reserve, and it's meant to be farmed. The farmer is not farming it this year because his lease ends in December, and he's in the process, and we're not renewing the lease, and he's in the process of trying to sell off his equipment. And it doesn't look to me like he's been farming the property this summer. A farmer tenant. And my understanding is he was there yesterday, and well, not him personally, but he had someone there yesterday mowing it. He did admit to me that it had gotten a lot higher than even he realized. And he said that it's on him as far as how high. It would just be helpful to have maybe some like if address that, if I could tell, and I can, it's just the line of communication is easier if I know exactly what needs to be done. I can talk to the tenant. He does seem to be voluntarily complying, at least as of I think this this process might have helped him along in that. It helped me, but also what would help me would be to, as a landlord, you know, we don't, since the farmer has a lease, there's only so much I can do.
Well, let's address that, because as I've said to you previously, my experience would overcome any potential hardship claim that he may make in a landlord-tenant court. So if your client is serious about ridding himself of the tenant and the problem that comes with him, I think today's proceedings are going to be a tremendous help to you, should you choose to avail yourself of that remedy.
Okay. We're talking about the high mobile substance. Where what?
I've invited you and your client to walk the property with the fire marshal and the building inspector. Nobody's availed themselves of that opportunity. But it's, you know, that offer still remains open to do that. But it's up to you.
Or what?
Up to you.
Maybe we just have to disagree on what good faith is. So
It would be nice if we could get it cleaned up for the neighbors a little more than it is.
a grass or other.
Well, the grasses, yeah, the grasses are still really high in certain places. There's a huge pile of junk, and
The photos will show.
Tom has the photos if you want to look at those.
Okay.
You know, just to make it, I mean, you're going to hear from them. I mean, it would be nice to Montauk Highway, but if you go into Amy's court, their backyards all back up to that mess. So it would be nice to get it all cleaned up. I mean, it's a farm field, it's agricultural. If they're not going to farm it, at least get all the junk out and keep the lawn, you know, maintained.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree that, and the tenant farmer agreed that the lawn, and if there's more grasses or an additional area that you want mowed, I just need to know where, and I'll tell him to do it.
Yeah, you know what it's like, John? It's like he cut the easy parts, but you know, where you need like a weed whacker, he didn't do that. So like it's all high around the posts, and it looks it's a complete mess.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think I can evict him based on him not mowing the grass, maybe, you know, so apply.
Okay.
So we'll keep working on it. If there's a debris, I can talk to Tom Priat about it. He and I have a good relationship. I just need to know, there's a pile of debris there now, I suppose?
Mr. Mayor, if I may show John.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is part of the record. You can take a photo of it.
I think
I can get
most
this
of us
to
were
you.
saying how we didn't want to walk on the property this week until it was mowed because ticks.
Right.
You know, that was my conversation.
AJ can advise you how to protect yourself from ticks. He's got great experience.
So is this on Montauk Highway or is this?
Well, this is actually, it's on the east of the property along the Amy's Court.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I
Residence.
actually have seen this here before, variations of it.
And this.
Okay.
It's just general.
Yep.
You know.
Mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could get,
Yep.
well, we'll see what the homeowners have to say, but maybe they'll have more more ideas of what else, because you can't see all the way back. So I'm not sure what's there, what's not there at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a fine line there, right? Because and he's not farming it, so he doesn't. And when I was there in the past, some of that stuff was there, but it was being used to farm the property.
Right.
And the property will be farmed, and there will be farm
that would
activity
be
there.
That would be welcome.
Yeah.
Even the neighbors agree that farming would be welcome. It's just abandoned vehicles, you have a dumpster in the front of the property that's
Right.
not being used. It's just a mess. Yeah, structures, greenhouses that aren't being used.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I know, we beat you up enough.
Yeah, Vinny did a pretty good job of that.
Thanks, John. Mr. Johansson, would you like to speak?
You ain't seen nothing yet.
My name is Hank Johansson. I'm the president of the Homeowners Association at Amy's Court. Amy's Court, for context, is an association of 9 separate condominium homes. 3 of the homes overlook the farm we've been talking about. They face the farm, and the backyards of those 3 homes are facing directly at the farm. Through the years, I've been there 20 years, we've watched the farm with pleasure. Well managed, well treated, crops blowing in the breeze on a Sunday afternoon. It was pretty, it was very nice to see. Something changed and a new crop was added. The new crop is called junk. And the junk is right behind the homes, the 3 homes I mentioned. So that if you can envision owning a home, looking out the back window and seeing a pile of junk 20 feet wide that keeps growing. So that's the situation that the homeowners are in. We have nothing against farming. Farming is a wonderful thing. It keeps us all healthy and fed. So it's not farming. It's the production of junk, and it should be stopped. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to step up?
My colleague is the treasurer of the Homeowners Association. And Jim, you want to?
I guess I just like up in December. So what's the plan post-December? What's going to happen there? So are you guys sourcing new people to rent and then farm that land? Is that the plan? Do we know?
The land is zoned for farming, for
Right, so-
agricultural, right?
Are you guys sourcing people to come in there now?
No, you want to step up, John? Maybe just let the homeowners know what the,
December's not that far away. I think it's
Right.
important to kind of address it. That's my only question.
Chief?
So the plan is to have the property farmed once the tenant vacates. Farming does have farming related activities, and there's things like irrigation and pots. I mean, farming does have some junk. So it's not going to be a vacant property. It will be farmed, and farming is not always clean.
Maybe I'm expressing it incorrectly, but tell me if I'm wrong. It's your client's intention then to maintain the property himself in a manner that's acceptable and not violative of the code.
He will not maintain the property himself. He will have a tenant farmer.
So if he doesn't get a tenant, the obligation falls on him, and then he'll do it or cause it to be done, right?
If he doesn't have a farmer, then he'll take care of he's going to have a farmer, but yes.
So one way or the other, the property won't become a nuisance to the neighbors again.
It depends on what their definition of nuisance is. If they don't like farming, it'll be a nuisance. If they don't like farm-related equipment,
we all agree it's a mess, and I think all the residents agree that the farming is nice as long as it's kept clean and so I think we're all on the same page, John.
Okay.
All right, so further, we can
Close the hearing if you wish, and
yes. Um,
the hearing at this time.
Yeah, can I get a motion to close the hearing?
Motion closed.
All in favor? The hearing is closed. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And we'll follow up on this.
Thank you very much.
Jim? All right.
Can I ask a follow-up question? I know it's closed. Just a question. You voted to close the hearing. Am I just going to work with, for now, I'll just work with Tom to make sure that whatever remaining items need to be addressed are
Yeah,
addressed?
we have a resolution at the end of this. Mr. Messina, could you explain?
Sure. And the resolution would direct the removal of any hazardous or unsafe conditions. The board will entertain that at that time. And there'll be a period of time for cure.
I would just ask that I know what they had up there. That's fine.
Okay.
I would just ask the village to work with me on this and not.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I didn't know that John represented this property owner, and I'm more than willing to work with John.
Right.
Okay.
We've had a good relationship throughout the
That's
years.
fine.
And yeah,
So maybe we can give a certain time period to have it cleaned up,
Yeah, that'd be great.
like 10 days.
Obviously, if there's no compliance, then you have to do what you have to do. I just would rather work with the village on this and not have
I'm
the
sure
highway
you'll
department show up on Monday
do
morning.
what's necessary. All right, next up is, I'd like to just address a couple of things before we get into the motions and resolutions. Last week's East Hampton Star, there was an edit misleading, non-factual, and this seems to be a common occurrence with David. So we have provided David with a rebuttal to his editorial, and I'd like June just to read it.
Dear editor, we would like to correct and
I
add.
need the mic, June. The microphone.
Dear editor, we
Hold
would
on.
like to correct.
June, hold on 1 second. Again, his editorial was incorrect, non-factual, and basically a conspiracy theory. So we thought it was important to send a letter into the East Hampton Stakes. Yes, and he did publish it. So I give him credit for that. Just give us a moment. In the meantime, while we're waiting for Trustee Doyle to find that, I'd like to address one other thing that came up this morning. David Gantz, I know you're watching, so I'd like to just correct you. You sent an email complaining that the agenda was not posted on the website. That is incorrect. It is posted on the website, and it was on the website, and
Board
It's-
packet. He was referring to the board
the
packet.
board packet. It was on the website, Mr. Gans, and you probably need to work on your computer skills a little, and then you'll find that. All right, we're ready, June?
Dear editor, we would like to correct and add clarifications to the unsubstantiated statements in your recent editorial titled "A Developer's Dream." We recognize that you have added a salacious header in order to entice disservice to our community, to insinuate that there is a nefarious motivation for trying to improve our water quality. The boundaries of the sewer system area were established by the previous village administration led by then Mayor Rickenback in 2019, who awarded a contract to Nelson Pope to evaluate sewers, parking, and workforce housing. In their effort to address commercial revitalization, The study specified, defined the service area, which was the commercial district. The recent recommendation plan adheres to their proposed commercial district boundaries. If you could please clarify when you state if Village Hall were even remotely concerned with protecting groundwater, it would be the other way around. Were you referring to the previous administration at Village Hall who commissioned the study in 2019, which will cost roughly 24 million, not the 30 million you stated in your article, will be funded predominantly by grants. Although John M. Marshall Elementary School is not included in the current plan, the allegation that schools are not being addressed is premature. The wastewater project will address the school's wastewater connection during the map and plan phase, which occurs after receiving decision on project permitting. The project has creative and cost-efficient methods for addressing school wastewaters. Again, study area boundaries were established by the previous study initiated by the previous, a stated objective of the engineering report. The map and plan will also address growth management. It is noted that the preliminary sizing of the wastewater system is for existing development. Wastewater management and freshwater quality are a huge issue for East Hampton. That is why we need a cohesive plan. Unfortunately, now in the absence of one, the nitrogen waterways causing the degradation of Hook and George ponds. Our drinking water is compromised. Contaminated water has an environmental impact, causing harmful algae blooms and brown tides. Cesspools for commercial facilities have been banned by the US EPA since 2001. Improper wastewater management can result in diseases and infections as well as nuisance odors. We are at a crisis level with our ponds, says Sarah Davidson, the executive director of Friends of Georgia Pond Foundation, when reached by the phone. There's definitely urgency to address it. Remember that this is the water we drink. Statement that the current proposed system is merely a very erroneous. Improving our water quality is crucial to our health and the health of our community as it stands right now. And as for your assertion that the absence of modern wastewater management has been one of the very few levers the towns and villages have to control development, surely we can do better. Our administration does not believe that one has to live in one's excrement to maintain community charm and character. As always, you can reach the mayor or any of the East Hampton Village trustees by phone for clarifications before you go to press. Our number, once again, is 631-324-4150. Respectfully, the Board of Trustees and the mayor.
Thank you, June. And again, my intent here is not to start a battle between us and the East Hampton Star. My intent to do a little homework before you write editorials that are misleading to the public, because it does a huge disservice. And that's not what our local newspaper should be doing. That's not what our paper of record should be doing. It should be giving the people the correct information so that we can make decisions instead of inciting people. So that's my intent here, is to clear the misleading comments that David Rattray makes in his editorials. That's it. Thank you. Next up is public comment. Is there anybody who would like to address the board?
There's nobody on
Please
the
state
lines right now.
your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes for public comment.
I'm Maureen Bludorn. I live at 41 Buell Lane, and I've been a resident for 19 years, I guess. I don't expect you to answer these questions here, but I do think I'm very important that the public be able to express concerns. I have a major concern with all the signage, extraordinary amount of signage that is going up in this village. I think I counted on the lampposts over 80 signs. And I don't know if you think we forget between one lamppost to the other, but we don't forget. And now I think it's getting a little bit hazardous now because you're having multiple things advertised on these. And if you're distracting drivers to look at these signs, then I think it's a real problem. And the town looks really shoddy because of it. Two more questions. One is, I'd love to know where the comprehensive plan is, and has a committee been formed, comprehensive plan? And has the committee been formed to address that? And is there a budget for that? And I would also love to know what the goals of the newly formed aesthetic committee are. We form a lot of committees, and I think it's a good idea for us to know what the goals are. All right. And then last but least, could somebody please do something about the pond and restore it to its natural beauty so our swans can come back? Thank you.
Thank you. I'll answer a couple of your questions. The aesthetics committee was formed out of the idea from our new board member, trustee Emmett. Sorry. So they came up with this idea, and it's really just to address villas, things like that, tables and chairs, so we don't end up with a mishmash of different types of tables and chairs for outdoor dining, things like that. We already have a DRB for private property, but village property is governed by the village board, not the DRB. So
I always thought that the DRB approved village property because they do approve paint colors that go up, whether awnings go up. They should approve whether or not there are tables and chairs all over the sidewalk. They should approve the signage and the flowers.
Thank you for your comments.
So I don't think we need a separate committee that is addressing that. There is a board formed.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. All right, let's move on. All right, so June, we're going to move into the resolutions.
Resolution number 168, approve claim vouchers for the month of July.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
169, approve warrants number 61, 63, and 64 for the general fund, number 62, a LoSAP.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Passed and carried.
170, approve budget transfer schedule number 10, reference number 10, dated July 19th.
All in favor?
Hello.
Passed and carried.
I'd like to make a
David Gans called in.
Sure where that's coming from.
It's coming from TV for some reason.
All right. Next, June.
171, authorize the village administrator to transfer funds as necessary to close the fiscal year ending July 31st, 2022.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
172, approve departmental reports.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
173, amend the 2021-2022 budget by increasing estimated revenue and appropriations in the amount of $58,153.67 related to ARPA funds received from New York State.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
174, acknowledge the $226,000 CPF grant for the Main Beach IA wastewater treatment system.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
175, approve the 4% increase and Lieutenant Jeffrey Erickson, Officer Armand Gredison, and Officer Brendan Worth's base salary as per PBA contract for college credits effective August 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
176, approve the $1.71 hourly rate increase for part-time ambulance office assistant Lynn Baldwin, effective immediately.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
177, employ 2022 seasonal beach staff effective August 1st, 2022. Curran O'Donnell as a substitute lifeguard at $17 an hour. Leah Fromm and Dylan Cashin as lifeguards at $16.50 an hour. Sarah O'Brien as an attendant at $12 an hour. And Sean Daly was added on as a lifeguard at $20 an hour.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, before you vote on this, I'd just like to add to the whatever existing resolution that would give the administrator and treasurer authority to make whatever appropriate.
Gonna get a motion from somebody?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
179, appoint Kyle Vorpal to the position of secretary to the mayor at an annual base salary of $60,000 effective August 1st, 2020.
Passed and carried.
180 to approve the $21,819.86 payout to Timothy Payne, who retired on July 14th for acute balladron.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. Just want to thank Tim for his longtime service to the village. He was a very good employee, and we wish him well as he moves on to something else.
$181, approved promotion, $4,751 effective August 1st.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried. Congratulations to Paul.
182, approve agreement with PW Grosser Consulting to perform hydrological analysis of town pond at a fee of $10,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. Billy, can you just expand on that a little?
Sure.
What that's for?
Sure. Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. So when the village, everyone's aware the village dredged or removed all the sediment that was accumulated in town pond over the last 40 or 50 years. The original plan was to remove about 5 feet of material. Ultimately, the result was removal of about 2.5 to 3 feet of material from the pond, and the project was successful in that we removed, a load of sediment that was filled with phosphorus, and phosphorus is one of the key problems that we're having in Hook Pond. So the idea was to create more surface area and more water area for settling because town pond receives a lot of stormwater runoff. So from a water quality perspective, the project was successful. However, since the project's completion, we've noticed that the pond, and the public is aware, as Maureen Bludorn just mentioned, that we're having difficulty maintaining or stable water levels in the pond. And there's a lot of theories and hypotheses as to why the pond's not holding water the way it used to. And so it's been determined through myself and with Dave Collins' help to engage with a hydrological engineer. PW Grosser is a pretty reputable firm. They're well regarded in the field of hydrogeology. And what they're going to do is an assessment of the pond to determine the amount of inputs, the amount of water that's entering the pond, measure the amount of outflow, the amount of water that's leaving the pond, and then hopefully come up with a plan that addresses maintaining a stable water level in the pond. And, they're going to try to do a water budget analysis and then also come up with suggested remediation factors or plans with a budget of what those recommendations are. And when they're completed with their work, they will do a presentation, provide a presentation to the Board of Trustees. So you'll see the information and know what's what.
Because right now, everyone's kind of guessing. And we all have our own ideas, but it's kind of a guessing game right now. That's a good question. I'm guessing that, I had preliminary conversations with PW Grosser about that. I think it's going to depend on their ability to gather the information, but I wouldn't expect it to take more than 4 or 5 months. That's the objective.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Number 183, approve change order number 1 in the amount of $8,852 received from Lombardo Associates in reference to the wastewater management plan.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
184, approve South Fork Asphalt's $28,300 quote for paving improvements in the parking lot at 8 Osborne Lane.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Passed and carried.
185, approve South Fork Asphalt's $28,208 quote for paving improvements in the parking lot at 81 Newtown Lane.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
186, approve the $15,310 purchase of a safety robot and pole camera for the police department.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
187, approve the villages joining the New Jersey Co-op Purchasing Cooperative, which is similar to Sourcewell.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Passed and carried.
188, approve the $32,000 from terrestrial imaging for the police department.
Second.
All in favor? Passed and carried.
189, approve the $19,140 for the police department.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Agreement for the police department software with Larimer Associates in the amount of $45,582.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
191, accept John Hummel's $662,990 bid for Phase 2 of the Domini Shop Restoration Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. What is the time limit on the construction?
The time, the contractor assured us it would take 4 months. And it
4
looks like
months.
we'll
That's
make our
good.
deadline for February 1st, so the Historical Society.
Yeah, that's great, because the Historical Society is to move into the domination. I know Steve Long is really excited about it, so.
192, accept Ken Russell Inc.'s $75,900 bid for the
In
domination.
favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
193, accept the $13,750 proposal received from 929 Media to compile a video documentary of the lifeguard program for the village's recruitment efforts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
194, accept Pio Lombardo's village septic study as presented on July 6th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
195, accept the below listed bids for general services, ESI for cesspool pumping, Macaron Plumbing for plumbing, New York Trenchless for drilling, trenching, and electrical work, Island Occupational for OSHA, Fire Department physicals, Mickey's Carting for recycling services, Suffolk Security Systems for alarm monitoring, and Century Automatic Fire Protection for fire suppression system maintenance.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Passed and carried.
196, accept donation of one 2022 Polaris ATV from the East End Rescue, Jim Minardi.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
197. Oops.
Yes.
There, 197, approve the Village of East Hampton's participation in the town's Community Housing Opportunity Program as per Town Code Chapter 160.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. Could you explain that to us, Billy?
Sure. This is a program for the incentivizing workforce housing. It's similar to the Community Preservation Fund, where the town collects 2% a tax on real estate transfers. This is going to be a 0.5% tax on real estate transfers that they're going to collect from, townwide and inclusive of the villages of East Hampton and Sag Harbor. And that money is going to be diverted into a fund that will support workforce housing initiatives. And the town has developed a preliminary plan for how they're going to implement the fund. And it's not a detailed plan, but it includes their overall policy, which is going to be financing affordable housing, providing low interest or no interest loans for first time buyers, things of that nature. So I think it's a good opportunity. The village residents are going to be contributing to the fund anyway, so we might as well take advantage. If an affordable housing project presents itself to the village, it'd be good to reap the benefits of that.
Thank you. June?
Resolution 198, deemed surplus and approved disposal of one impound vehicle, a 2001 Ford Windstar VIN number ending in 50287, and that'll be sold to Medford Auto Wreckers.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
199, increase hourly rate for EMTs to $25 and paramedics to $32 as per July 21st memo from Chief Tracy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 200, increase hourly rates for listed traffic control officers and specialists as per July 21st memo from Chief Tracy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 201, accept resignation of Police Officer Matthew Griffiths and Traffic Control Specialist as per July 21st memo from Chief Tracy.
So moved.
All in favor? Passed and carried. Chief, shouldn't that have Landano's name in there?
Yes.
Right. So that resolution should really say, right, accept the resignation of Police Officer Matthew Griffiths and Christian Landano, Traffic Control Specialist, as of July 21st. So can I get a motion? We'll do it again.
Motion to accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. I just want to mention, Matt Griffiths got hired. He was a part-time police officer for us. He's doing a great job. He's actually the one who caught two of the car bandits that the ring from New Jersey that's been out here stealing high-end cars. He caught two of them single-handedly. So pursued them by vehicle, then they fled, and he caught both. Not sure why we let him go to the town, but we did. I guess they could use the help more than we could. But Matt's a great kid and comes from a great family, so we congratulate him on that. And then Christian Landano, who was a longtime traffic control officer for us, has been hired full-time as a police officer by us. So we're really happy about that, and congratulations to him. Next.
Number 202, to raise the threshold for which purchase orders are required from $750 to $1,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
203, in reference to 56 Egypt Lane field cleanup.
Can
Yeah.
we make a motion to give them 10 days to satisfactorily clean it up? And then if we don't have that, we'll either,
Fire Marshal Collins, Building Inspector Priato, and myself will advise you of what action we can do.
okay, perfect. So can I get a motion?
Just for the record, it is Egypt closed.
Okay, so the resolution 56, Egypt close field cleanup to be completed within 10 days of today's hearing. Can I get a motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. Does the board have anything to say or anything you want to add? Anybody? All right, great. So I need to get we're going to go into executive session to discuss personnel and real estate. And if we have to reconvene, we will. So can I get a motion to close this hearing and move into executive session? All in favor?
Aye.
This hearing is closed and we're going into executive session. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.